It seems we have found a case in which a political policy actually coincides with the public good, but not with the public will. The Conservatives have launched a plan to stop under-16s from taking smartphones to school or having access to the social media at all, a month after the Australian government introduced exactly that kind of ban in that country. I wrote about this, pointing out that with the vote now going to people aged 16 and upwards, this plan may store up resentment that will come out at elections, giving the party that announced it an even worse result than in 2024. And then I asked someone who would be directly affected. She is the mother of young children who is careful to limit the amount of time her 3-year-old spends on screens. The other is too young to be interested in such things. She said, "Screens are not healthy for developing brains, especially as young as my 3-year-old. I have basic knowledge on brain development from college and the work sector I'm in, and the research indicates that it is not something that is beneficial." So this was an issue that concerned her before she had any children at all. She told me, "I considered not having screens at all, but figured that it was probably not achievable. So I limit it to very little and only certain things. So I don't just whack the TV on any channel, nor just any cartoon for that matter, as some are utter tripe. I try to limit it to helpful and educational things. TV is on for no longer than an hour a day, and that is split up, usually after lunch and after tea." She admitted that screen time should be limited, but it is hard to police and enforce with everything being digital. "I absolutely think social media should be for adults. It's so toxic for children and young people. Makes for easy bullying, grooming, and all the other awful things people are capable of." Interested so far? Then please press the like button and help make this clip more visible to other people who might be too. But she also rang a note of caution. It will be interesting to see how things go in Australia with the ban, how it's managed, and how long it takes to make a difference. I think it will take almost a generation. Well, the Tories are hoping it won't take that long. They want social media companies, including TikTok and Snapchat, to use age verification tools to prevent under-16s from accessing their platforms. On the other hand, the Labour government is expected to issue guidance to parents around how long children under the age of 5 should spend watching TV or looking at computer screens. It will be interesting to see how closely it aligns with what parents like my interviewee are already doing. But what is the answer to children seeing inappropriate material on social media and to children bringing smartphones to school and using them as distractions? Well, I still think the Tory policy will achieve little apart from banking resentment. 16 and 17-year-olds now vote, and they are digitally native, highly sensitive to perceived hypocrisy and authoritarianism, and already overwhelmingly anti-conservative. A party that last won youth votes in meaningful numbers before smartphones existed, proposing to ban the core social infrastructure of young people's lives, is not a neutral child protection move in political terms. The ban will likely be experienced as something imposed on young people rather than shaped with them. And people tend to remember who restricted their autonomy without caring whether the motives were benevolent. Worse for the Tories, the policy fits a wider pattern. Symbolic, tough gestures aimed at parents and older voters, with the costs deferred onto groups who already don't support them. If anything, it risks reinforcing a generational identity of the party that picks on the young, which will still be there when today's 14-year-olds are voting in the early 2030s. So electorally, it looks like storing up trouble rather than solving a problem. But that brings us to the more important question: what actually works? On inappropriate content, blanket bans are a blunt instrument aimed at a nuanced problem. Children encounter harmful material online for three main reasons: platform design that rewards shock and extremity, poor moderation and recommendation systems, and lack of support when things go wrong. A ban tackles none of those directly. A more serious approach would put responsibility onto the social media platforms, not parents or the children themselves. That means enforcing genuinely robust, age-appropriate design, algorithmic throttling of harmful content by default, rapid response moderation when minors report abuse, and meaningful penalties that bite financially when companies fail. The Online Safety Act gestures in this direction, but enforcement is still cautious and reactive. And we're seeing with the current controversy over Grok, the AI on Elon Musk's X platform, that has published unconsensual nudified images of women and children, that its provisions may not be enough. If Ofcom is serious, the pressure needs to fall harder on companies than on families. Alongside that, children need digital literacy taught as a safeguarding skill, not an optional add-on. Understanding how content is pushed, how manipulation works, and where to go for help is protection that actually travels with the child, online and offline. Shielding without education just delays harm rather than preventing it. Crucially, many pupils need phones for safety travelling to and from school, for caring responsibilities, for accessibility reasons. A one-size-fits-all ban ignores that reality and pushes problems underground rather than resolving them. So the real answer isn't prohibition, it's design, governance, and education. Make platforms safer by force, not by request. Teach children how to navigate risk, not pretend it doesn't exist. And manage phone use in schools pragmatically. Thank you for listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. You might even want to join the channel, and you'll see me in the next one.